and welcome back to the Right Mortgage Network's Later Life Lending podcast. We are back here with myself, Victoria Clark, Head of Equity Release at the network. And joining me today is the newly appointed role, Head of Sales at Standard Life Home Finance, Sanjay Gadhia. Welcome to the podcast, Sanjay, and congratulations again on this very exciting new role.
Thank you, Victoria, and hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us.
That's been my pleasure. No, yeah, I'm good. I'm doing really good. Thank you very much.
That's good. Okay, so on our podcast today, Sanjay and myself are taking the time to get into the very hot topic of Horizon Interest Reward, brought to the market by Standard Life Home Finance at the start of this year. Sanjay, can you start us off, please, for those of who might fully not be up to speed with how the product works and all of these kinds of things? Please tell us, what is the Horizon Interest Reward product?
Yeah, sure, Victoria. So, as you said, we launched it at the start of this year. It's been a really overwhelming success. So, Horizon Interest Reward is our standard Horizon lifetime mortgage plan, but this is for customers that can commit to making monthly payments. So they commit to servicing either 25, 50, 75, or 100% of the interest element only, and for a predetermined term of up to 15 years. And what we do in return, in fact, is we give that customer a discounted rate for the duration of their lifetime mortgage plan. So, really good success. As I mentioned, the types of customers that we're seeing coming through has been some different types of customer profiles, which has been quite exciting as well. And I've personally just been really pleased to see that there are a breadth of customers that are able to make these committed payments.
It's been like, even from our point of view within the network as well, it's been completely flown off the shelves, hasn't it? It's just been so many
Absolutely.
people taking you up on it, which is so lovely to see, because where everybody's kind of looking into affordability a lot more, it just
Yeah.
shows that people really are doing that and looking into the options where people can make the payments. And Standard Life, I think they've just made it so easy to kind of be able to offer that to customers, but still have the reassurance that you're in a lifetime product. But what are the
Yes.
key features that, I know you've mentioned a few of them, but like that really they do set them apart from other interests that are served in the lifetime mortgages on the market at the moment?
Yeah, so you've actually mentioned a couple of them already, Victoria. So it is, I think the crucial piece on our interest reward plan is that security of tenure. So for the end customer, knowing that there's no risk of losing their home, one of the Equity Release Council standards that we must abide by, because in effect this is still a lifetime mortgage plan. And in addition to that, really, it's the fact that, as you mentioned, and I'm really pleased you talked about it, particularly at the Later Life Lending Network, Victoria, that we've had astounding feedback from your advisors around how the interest reward plan supported their customers. But what we've seen in that is where your advisors particularly are having that discussion around affordability, being able to discuss what any non-disposable income is. But I guess the beauty of our plan, for instance, is that whilst we expect that conversation to happen as part of the advice process, there's no income or affordability requirements for the interest reward plan. And that beautiful discounted rate, it can go as high as 75.75%.
It is amazing for people to think they can get the discount. I think it being talked about as a discount as well is just kind of coming across, even from when I've heard from advisors talking to their customers, and they'll talk about the situation, and then there's a discount, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I could probably make those payments actually for a few years, and that's great. You're also going to keep your interest down, so it really is a win-win. What kind of, I know you talked about positive feedback. Have you had any feedback from the start of the year that's kind of made the product change at all since as we've gone on whilst it's been in practice?
So I think one of the key things we've picked up from launch was Standard Life and Finance. We were really keen to get some real positive enhancements coming out to the market. As I mentioned, interest rewards gone down really well. I think in the current rate environment, our interest reward plan is for lump sum customers only. So the beauty of that, I guess, is where this is a potential customer profile that this could support are those that are either coming out of a fixed rate residential mortgage or an interest only plan. So it's that type of customer that's still used to making that form of repayments, typically younger than what you would deem an average traditional lifetime mortgage customer. So that's the sort of demographics we're seeing coming through. I guess the next evolution for me and for Standard Life Home Finance is, where do we take it next? So we've come out with something that's interest served. that's gone down really well. We've come out with the wraparounds from the Equity Release Council standards by way of no risk of 10-year, no negative equity guarantee. Again, that's another positive. And we're already looking at the next evolution, Victoria. So watch this space. I know we, our research and development team, are looking to see what next we can do, be it whether or not we revisit the discounts, revisit the plans that it's available on, revisit whether or not it's on lump sum only, and whether or not we can broaden it out to drawdown too. So yeah, we're not sitting on our laurels. That's all I will say right now.
No, it is exciting. I think as well with you guys being very much at the forefront of this, it's now made quite a few other lenders maybe change their next steps sort of thing, hasn't it? So I suppose you've got to keep on your toes to make sure you're still ahead of the curve for everybody else then with these new interesting things. So can't wait to hear what more you can do to improve the product that's already going so well. So that's really exciting. Is there some things that you would kind of recommend for advisors to be aware of when advising the product? Like, is there things they should be taking into consideration before they actually look to recommend it?
Well, I think for the network, for your network, should I say, Victoria, it's when we look at the post-consumer duty piece, I know for your advisors and members that you've already got that conversation going on about affordability, and that could be a really quick conversation because the advisor through the initial fact find would know that there is no affordability or no non-disposable income, but having that conversation around affordability and understanding and explaining to that customer, well, even if you can make some form of payment or repayment, look what it can do to the impact on the cost of borrowing. And that's the most crucial piece here, I'd say. So explaining and educating that customer around what making any form of repayments can do to the roll-up effect on a lifetime mortgage plan, and ensuring on our specific plans that they're actually picking the right term, depending on how long that customer can actually make payments for. Because if that customer makes those payments for that committed term, and that's either 5, 10, or 15 years, as I mentioned earlier, that rate discount remains for life. So in some instances, our higher term interest reward plans offer a more generous discount. But if the customer stops making repayments for whatever reason, the downside of the interest reward plan, in fact, is that they revert back to that non-discounted rate. That's the risk to the customer. So whilst that heavier discount looks really attractive, doing that research to ensure that the customer and the advisor are reviewing the 5, 10, and 15-year options.
Yeah, being realistic.
Yeah,
That's what you mean.
absolutely. Indeed.
No, that is the thing, isn't it? I suppose it's with people having these conversations. So still always think about there is another rate at the other side of it if things shouldn't, maintain. Is that better for the customer overall if they really don't think they will be making the payments? Is it pie in the sky? Do we know the situation? So yeah, that's a really good recommendation for people to make sure they're having with their customers. And if I know we said we already, we've already had really great response from our advisors doing it. But if we do say we still get quite a lot of, we get new trainees looking to get authorised in equity release, which is exciting because we want more people coming into the industry. But what would you say to these guys with what support is there and where can they go to get more information about these products so they can understand it for when they're looking into recommending a standard life home finance product, but being completely brand new to the industry?
Yeah, so I guess for ourselves, Victoria, the first port of call would be get registered with Standard Life Home Finance. That will then ensure that all of our messages that are coming out from our fantastic marketing team go to the advisors. As you mentioned, the launch of this plan was earlier this year, but we've already got a breadth of sales aids and we're continually evolving and expanding on those as well. So just to give you an example, we've got a couple of real life case studies coming through, and that really talks about the real advisors that have put customers through our interest reward plan and can talk any new advisors or those that aren't aware of this plan, what type of scenarios they could be suited for. We've got fantastic dedicated support in our sales team as well. So you've got your dedicated account manager and business development manager. We run regular clinics as well on a sort of monthly basis there too, Victoria. That's at the moment that's specific to our interest reward plan, but they're just drop-ins. There's no real set format to them, albeit that I know the BDMs have got content available, but it's to allow advisors to an opportunity just to jump on if they've got. It's very moment in time. So if they've got a customer question, for example, they can just jump on and ask away.
It's really helpful as well, isn't it? Because I think sometimes people come onto these things, they might not know they've got a question until somebody else asks it, and then they're listening to what they probably thought was something they overcame, but getting to hear from other people's questions. So yeah, that's really great, and it's good to be able to recommend advisors to kind of branch out and hear from other advisors rather than, you know, a lot of them are either on their own or in a group in their own offices, but it's good to kind of get onto things like this and mix with people from all over the country as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's really endearing to me. In fact, 'cause I was speaking to an advisor yesterday who's his customer just completed, and yeah, the story behind the reasons why the interest reward plan fit the customer was just, it's phenomenal for me, because I wholly appreciate that I'm one step removed from our end customer, you know. So just to see how the plans can support customers in a variety of solutions, just, it's what our industry is about, right, Victoria? And I know you and I have had many a conversation around this, but you know, your advisors in your network, they're there for that customer and to ensure that they're doing the right thing for the customer. And it's very refreshing to hear it. I love it.
Yeah, and it's life changing for people, and that's what I love. I'm gonna say, like, I'm obviously not here talking to customers, but hearing the stories from people, and then, like you say, if somebody's come out of an interest only mortgage, but they had the potentially to lose their home, but they can still make payments. It's just amazing that you can have something that can fit a need for someone. So yeah, it's so lovely to hear it. But it's a great product. Can't wait to hear what more goes on throughout the year. Obviously, we're hoping for the second half of this year to be even better than how this year has been compared to last year that we won't talk about. And then so it's going to be really exciting, especially great to hear the positivity that innovation's still coming and that there's still that appetite to keep moving forward. But before we finish off for today, have you got anything else you'd like to add and be able to tell our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Just look out for our most latest enhancement. As I mentioned earlier, Victoria, we are certainly looking to do more for the market, for the advisors and the end customers. So we've come out with the EPC proposition. So customers that have got a rating of B or above, they are able to benefit from cashback and also obtain a free EPC certificate too. So going down that route as well. So any more questions or queries about that, just reach out to your direct contacts.
No, lovely. Yeah, there's lots of support available, isn't there, with Standard Life Home Finance. So I don't think anybody will struggle with getting hold of you all. You're also available, which is very welcomed and very grateful as well for our advisors.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us then today, Sanjay. It's been so good to go through all of these things. Can't wait to see what the rest of the year brings. But yes, thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you for having me, Victoria, and look after yourself.